Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org. Sorry. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen for the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
This is Cinema Classics.
You got it. And Entertainment Weekly recently came out with an issue.
Yeah, boy.
The 50 most powerful superheroes.
You bet. And since we've just finished our election,
yeah,
we know what hero and anti-hero mean in that context. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Or villain.
Right. So let me ask this first, okay?
Yeah.
What's your favorite superhero? What do you think is the most power? Whom do you think is the most...
Well, see, this is a tricky question. Yeah.
Let's start, first of all, with the superhero you feel is the most powerful.
Superman.
Superman.
And by powerful, I mean impactful.
Oh, great. Okay.
And, you know, I don't know. Superman and Batman are two sides of the same coin. One is extraordinarily powerful and bright and is a beacon of hope and goodness, and the other one is powerless.
Dr. Gloom, for Christ's sake.
Right, no power. He has no power. He's just a man.
Right.
Also good, but in the guise of a dark, fearful entity.
Yeah.
So as a kid, those two were great, and then Spider-Man. Those three were. You know, I could just live on a steady diet of those three superheroes alone.
Well, you remind me that Iron Man is also just a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting
He's
point.
a sort of Marvel's version of Batman.
Yeah.
You take the Bruce Wayne, you know, billionaire persona, you snazz it up a little bit, you give him an outsized ego problem, but really he has no powers, and all he brings to the table is what he can invent, what he can, you know, and so he's a brilliant inventor, and he has unlimited resources. That's his superpower, as well as Bruce Wayne's.
Well, it interests me as a side note that he's kind of inextricably bound to Robert Downey Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
where the others don't have any one actor who really dominates.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, what's I think at work there is that normally the superheroes, the superhero themselves is bigger than the movie star playing them. So you can't put, you can't, you know, back in the 70s when they were casting, when they were casting the Superman, you know, they wanted Redford. They even tried Clint Eastwood for a second, you know, but those guys brought to bear so much of their own movie stardom that you needed somebody who you brought no associations to. And so Christopher Reeve proved perfect for that. Now, when it comes to Iron Man, not a lot of people knew Iron Man as a broad audience. So there wasn't a whole lot of things, you know, associations to kind of contend with. Robert Downey Jr. was always on the verge of stardom, but not quite.
But he had such a roguish take on him.
It turned out to be perfect. Brilliant casting. Anyway, let's talk about the magazine. So we cracked this cracked this magazine open, and number one is Wonder Woman.
Yeah, there she is, gang.
Yeah, and you know, there's the little adolescent 12-year-old in me sort of recoiled for a second because I was like, no, it's Superman. Not that I dislike. I watched the Wonder Woman television show with Linda Carter.
Some of my best friends are women, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, great.
Now look at, I mean, you're on top of it, and what I like, because you already made this comment, it's not just the physical being, it's the idea behind the superhero. And how does she connect with us? Right. So am I anticipating you're going to say, you might concede?
She is like, yes, she is the female Superman, basically.
All right.
I know one might say, no, Supergirl is the female Superman, but that's not the case. She is a woman.
That's right. Oh, it's so
and,
good. Yeah.
You know, she is her own being. And she also carries, you know, it's not a mistake that her color scheme is very similar to Superman's. This lasso, her lasso of truth,
Yes.
also resonates in there. There's this idealistic kind of iconic hero there.
Yeah, and she's garbed in Americana.
Mm-hmm.
So she is really a good example of that. Now, I think even physically, hasn't she had combat with Superman and they come out in a draw?
I mean, yeah. So, according to
that's not
look,
important.
I don't know because I'm not a well-read comic book person.
Yeah.
But
I think it's true.
yeah, I think over the years they probably scrapped a few
They
times, and in the comics they come out it's a draw. or
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
And that's because in the comics you don't want your heroes. First of all, I hate when our heroes fight. That bothers me.
Yeah.
Because I believe, and I would like to believe that these people who are so good know the inherent good in the other one and would never come to blows. But in the comics, they do.
Well, recently we've had some films that really have
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
that also makes me crazy.
Wow, but it's
Because-
not really good filmmaking. Even it's not a good combination.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something there. It's a takeoff of Frank Miller's, Dark Knight graphic novel where Superman is seen. It's a really pessimistic, cynical view of what Superman is. It kind of turns my stomach actually. What bothers me is that we can't just accept Superman for for who he is, the truth, justice, American way guy. We need that more than ever. We need that more than ever.
And then you're making me think Superman is an alien. He's a man for our time.
He's
an
the
immigrant.
great, yeah, right. He's an immigrant. And what does he do? He stands up and fights for the American way.
That'd be great. Now help me out
Now
with
that's powerful.
this. That is. But help me out with this one.
Yeah.
I could never warm up to Spider-Man.
Really?
And I can't because he's got so many problems. He's got so much baggage. And that may be his charm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just that he's come
So
back.
think about just for a second. Spider-Man, in my opinion, is actually a variation of the Superman character, repackaged for teenagers. So in the 60s, right, is when Spider-Man comes aboard. He's got the same kind of color scheme. He's an orphan. He lives with his aunt and uncle, just kind of like Superman, Yeah, the father figure in his life dies. In this case, it's also a variation of Batman because he dies through a mistake that Spider-Man makes.
Yeah.
And he's smart. He's a smart, nerdy type, just like Clark Kent.
Right.
And so it seemed to me that Stan Lee was trying to take some of that same mythology,
Right.
repackage it in an urban setting, and pitch it at teenagers.
Okay, I still think he's a wimp.
Oh, he's not a wimp.
But you know who's not a wimp?
He's pretty tough, dude.
Let me tell you who
Yeah.
one of the top 5 maybe in Entertainment Weekly?
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine is pretty awesome.
And there again, he's been played by only one guy in films.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like our Robert Downey Jr., he catches it better than almost anybody else as superheroes.
Yeah, and that's a great mashup of star and character because
Yes.
Hugh Jackman is so unlike Wolverine. He's not a grumpy. He's like a song and dance guy.
It's really, I know.
And he's just got such a sweet demeanor off camera and in his other roles a lot of times. And it's funny that he is the signature. He's the guy that Wolverine is his signature character. Also, hasn't had a whole lot of success in that role. I mean, the movies are always problematic. He hasn't had an out of the park knockout performance as Wolverine in a standalone movie.
Right.
This new one, Logan, looks to be pretty cool. A low key, it's like it looks like Wolverine's
Loki?
Unforgiven.
You mean that's a different.
You're so smart.
Well, look at with our new female president.
Yes, that is a bold.
It is. And of course, we'll have another ending. I'm looking ahead to maybe some superhero values in the #1 woman. How about you?
Me too. And in America.
Yeah.